A school district of the future prepares lifelong learners to demonstrate mastery of 21st century competencies that will equip them for continuous success.
DeKalb County School District is a leader in K-12 and early childhood education and has developed a comprehensive master plan to ensure school improvements are made throughout the DCSD community.
Students can reach their fullest potential and excel when schools are well maintained and capital resources are up to date.
Whether it's state-of-the-art learning spaces, our 7 robotic programs, renovated and innovative schools, or technology devices for every child,
these resources and investments not only benefit the DCSD community, but also the taxpayers of DeKalb County.
A top priority for DCSD is supporting social and emotional skills of young learners and their families, and our Early Learning Center addresses the readiness gap.
Every 5 years, we assess DCSD schools and facilities, technology equipment, and examine construction to address overcrowding and to accommodate growth so that DCSD scholars can thrive. To achieve and excel, we provide technology at your fingertips with anytime, anywhere access, infrastructure enhancements, business system integration, and instructional tools to support top-of-the-line connectivity and cybersecurity, and a family impact hub that meets diverse families where they are.
So, how do we pay for these general improvements to impact student achievement and positively affect the DCSD community?
E-SPLOST is a 1-penny sales tax that allows school districts to fund their capital improvements. The voters of DeKalb County will be asked to extend the 1-penny sales tax for another 5 years. This education special purpose local option sales tax is critical to building our children's future and equipping our community for success.
So it is now 6:09 and I am calling our October 26th E-SPLOST Citizens Advisory Meeting to order. Just want to welcome all our visitors and guests. We can't see you, but we know, I'm sure you are there. So we'll move to our second agenda item, which is review and approval of the October 26th, 2022 meeting agenda. And I wanted to pause right here for a moment because there was a question about the minutes and minutes being posted on the website. So we have, the leadership has talked and we have determined that from now on, we will not post meeting minutes on the website until after we have approved the meeting minutes. So if the September meeting minutes are there, they should not be. Going forward, we will post, for example, the October 26th, 2022 meeting minutes after we approve them in November.
And to go along with that, Kathy, too, any attachments that we reference in the minutes will be included with what is posted when it's after it's approved and posted. So we'll have all attachments there as well.
Right. So we will go right back into our agenda. Item number 2, review and approval of the October 26, 2022 meeting agenda. Are there any corrections to the meeting agenda as distributed? Okay, so hearing none, can we by unanimous consent, if there are no objections, agree that the October 26, 2022 meeting agenda is approved as distributed? All right, hearing none, the meeting agenda is approved as distributed. Number 3, review and approval of the minutes from September 28th, 2022 meeting minutes. The meeting minutes should have been distributed to the committee. Are there any corrections, updates to the minutes? All right, so hearing none, can we again by unanimous consent approve the meeting minutes from September 28th, 2022 if there are no objections? All right, hearing no objections, the meeting minutes for September 28th, 2022 are now approved, and they will be I'm sure they're already on the website, but from now on, we will, once they're approved, they will be released to go on the website. So item number 4, discuss follow-up matters from the prior meeting, and that would be 4A, report on E-SPLOST items presented at the October 2022 meeting, Board of
Right.
Education meeting.
And before I go over those, Kathy, Monica, make sure whatever is posted for the September minutes have all the attachments that you had in the packet today. So there were 3 items that were discussed, 3 SPLOST items. None of these were contracts. These were all approval of additional scope of work. The first one, I'm sorry, I did not turn on my camera. The first one is approval of additional scope of work and a related budget adjustment for a Hawthorne Elementary School major building system replacement in the amount of $330,000. We're including or we're adding replacing the roof on that project. The next item, approval of additional scope of work and related budget adjustment for Midvale Elementary School major building system replacement in the amount of $2,350,000. And that's going to include replacing the HVAC system. So we're adding that to the scope for the project. And the third item was approval of additional scope of work and related budget adjustment for Rock Chapel Elementary School, a major building system replacement project in the amount of $2,320,000. That included the addition of replacing the fire alarm system, a new fire sprinkler system, lighting replacement, and additional parking. And those were the 3 items under 4A. Any questions on those? Okay, I'll move into 5, contract. So those were the only 3 items or SPLOST items discussed at the board meeting. So there are no contracts that were added to the contract award spreadsheet. That's item 5. And that is it. That brings us to number 6, Kathy.
All right, thanks, Mel, again. Review of community feedback collected from the E-SPLOST committee email address. Daniel?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. We've received a number of emails since our last meeting. There were several emails and regarding the minutes from the September E-SPLOST meeting, but Madam Chair has already addressed that, so I won't dwell on that one. First email, I'd like to go over. Subject line is email response policy, stated clearly but not followed. Let's see, mentions an excerpt from the March 2019 E-SPLOST Advisory Committee meeting. Chair confirms that all emails must be formally responded to in writing. This has really been my experience. I urge the committee to discuss this. Let's see, and she's copied the interim superintendent, Richard, and her board member. Let's see.
So on that one, Daniel, and I did reply to a number of these that I got this morning. I think I got 10 this morning and then a couple more this afternoon. Right at the last meeting, I said I would be addressing those, and they are still on my to-do list, and I've hit a number of those. And actually, I know AECom is working on one of those, and so probably within the last 30 minutes, the email address has gotten a few responses, and then I've sent some of those responses out directly as well. So we can I didn't know if you wanted to go over those or if you were just going to send those out. I guess you can
Well,
just send.
yeah, we can talk about the responses or at least a quick summary. That's fine.
Okay. So the first one, yeah, the first one we have discussed. Let me go. I'm in my emails just a minute. Let me go to my sent items. Let's see. The first one. So yes, that one we have addressed. That was regarding the minutes, and we are going to make that used to be our practice. So we will go back to that as far as not putting the minutes on until after they have been approved. There was an item from Mr. Ritchie with the Decatorish requesting links to the video, and Dr. Porter had sent that out, and I think I noticed that Mr. Ritchie was on the call today, so hopefully he has received that. Let's see. The second one from Mr. Ritchie on the same item. Notifications, that was one that was posted also, and or a question that was sent in asking about notifications for the meetings, and those have been posted in the past. And so I actually sent the email to our communications department, who said that they would send this out. I think it was the week before, the day before, and then they would also post on the next month's meeting as well. So we can get a response out for that item. Let's see, I'm just going through the emails that I sent out. One email that Kathy and Daniel, I don't know if y'all can, if you saw it or if we want to address it now, but this was on the bios and the photos for 4 or 5 of the members. I had said my response to the committee email was, let's discuss this tonight.
Hold on one second, Richard. I'm sorry. I'm not sure who's doing the reactions, but please, if you would please stop.
Oh, I haven't seen any emojis.
Yeah, I'm seeing a whole bunch of emojis. I'm not sure what's going on.
I see them as well.
I see them as well.
Oh, okay.
And they're not stopping. So I'm not sure if this has been, if we've been hacked or what's going on.
Is there a way to disable people from they're just in listen only mode with no?
Well, everybody who, except the committee members, should be in the attendees mode and not panelists. So it's somebody who's who's a panelist. Richard, is the communications person still on?
He should be. Richard, can you look into that and
Yes.
see what the issue is and see who's doing that?
All right, I'm on it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I didn't see any come up. I saw somebody had a hand raised, but that was it from the attendees, but I don't believe they can. I don't know if they can actually ask questions. I think they are just observing. All right. Sorry about that. Send that to voicemail.
Okay, hold on one second.
Go ahead.
Miss, I'm Colleen Minton or something. If I apologize for not pronouncing your name right, but we do not take questions from attendees. So if you would please put your hand down, thank you.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I had said in my response Kathy and Daniel to the E-SPLOST committee email that let's address this tonight. If all the, and I need to, and Monica, I'll get you to help me with this. I need to look at the website and see whose picture we don't have, but we will get bios, and we'll get each member to, that's not on the website, to write a bio and to send us a picture. And we can,
you know, Richard, I think it's probably our newer members that don't have
right.
Their bios and pictures updated.
Yeah, and I think the email didn't state which ones did not. It just said that there were 4 members that do not. So we'll identify those members and send that out. Kathy, if you could, I'm sorry, not Kathy, Monica, if you could help me with that.
Sure, that's no problem. Once we get the information, I'll have to submit a help ticket. No problem.
Okay. There was, let's see, so that was that item. I print all these out as a reminder for myself also. We had a question, or actually a number of questions, 8 questions about the flow chart that we had talked about a couple of times, a work order flow chart. And Barry is going to address some of those questions during her discussion tonight. And we can go through those items and return that to the committee. And then the last one that I had printed out. Yeah, and that was the last one. Okay. And then I'll work on the other ones also and get those turned around as quick as I can.
In addition to the bios, I think that now's a good time for us to redo the badges that we have. I know mine has been expired for a couple of years, and I'm sure everybody's been expired. So just in the event that we do decide to go back to in-person, at least we have the badges as well. So I think it's a good thing that everybody do that at the top of the year in January.
Do we want to say by the February meeting, everybody should have gotten their badges updated?
I think that should be fair.
Okay. So we'll put that as a recommendation, follow-up matter also for number 11.
Okay, I think that Richard has disabled the emoji, so thank you very much for that. And Richard, was that it for the?
That was all the ones I was able to get to this afternoon. And I will get to the rest of these, and I'll do a search for the others to make sure I've hit all the last couple of weeks of emails to make sure we've got them all.
Okay. And Daniel and I had discussed putting together some service level agreements or timing for the email responses. So we will have that information hopefully by our January meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Can we go back to the agenda, please? Hate to pick on you, Mel. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Kathy. It looks like item 7 is
And
next.
it's on you.
There you go. Perfect timing. We'll use our time wisely, hopefully. Hopefully everybody can see the screen with the cover of the September issue of the MSR. I want to thank everybody for their patience with the delayed issuance of the MSR this month. I know there was a note that went out that advised it would be late. I guess I should probably explain a little bit because it was a pretty big deal on our end. There was a massive cyber attack on a block of ACOM servers that house the Cognos systems that produce the reports for the MSR from our Proliance module. They had been quarantined early in the week of October 10th. And we were not able to access those servers until, geez, I guess it was maybe Sunday, night the 20th. So kudos to the team for working hard early this week to get the MSR out this morning. I want to thank everybody for their efforts in that regard. Let's spin through the MSR as we normally do. Table of contents, of course, section 1 speaks to the funding. And there is a note that shows that we did not receive any district funding in July, August, and September. So our numbers are still constant. For SPLOST 4, we received about 84.5 million so far. And for SPLOST 5, about 742,000 to date. In terms of funding, obviously SPLOST 4 is pretty static. We are expecting a little more GISFIC reimbursements. I think we talked about those a couple of periods ago. It'll be a number of months and maybe even a year before all of the SPLOST 4 funding's closed out. For SPLOST 5, I do want to point out that this table has been revised. Basically a response to a question we got from a stakeholder. It was a good question. It really revolved around why the current budget on this table didn't match the current budget on table 9. The table 2 budget number really matches the table 3 budget number. And what you'll notice is that this number of 770 includes 140 million from technology bond. The table 9 number, which carries all the project budgets, does not include that technology bond funding. It is not what you would call approved by the board to fund projects. So the difference really is just that 140 million. But we did notice when we were looking at this that we had increased the actual receipts collected beyond what we received in July, which was the June, I'm sorry, which was the end of our SPLOST 5 collection cycle. So this number has been adjusted to reflect just what we've collected through June 2022 for SPLOST 5. July and August and September tax collections really belong to SPLOST 6, which we'll start reporting on as soon as the district decides. So good question by the stakeholder, and we think that the table now accurately reflects the approval by the board and matches table 9. In terms of receipts to date, as we mentioned, we're total up to 200, I'm sorry, expenditures up to 279. Roughly it's 278.96, so that rounds to 279 for SPLOST 5. For total, chart 1 doesn't change much, obviously, for SPLOST 4. We spent about 350,000 this month, and that really is just Hightower Elementary that's closing out. But for SPLOST 5, there's a 278.96 rounded to 279,000, and that increase was really a minor 0.86 million for this period. Table 4, of course, shows your SPLOST 4 totals by project phase. The 270 million reflects only those projects that we call carryover projects, and they're reported on table 8, whereas the chart 1 reflects all SPLOST 4 projects from inception. But again, as we pointed out, the carryover projects are what was managed from 2019 through to 2022. For SPLOST 5, table 5 shows the breakdown again by project phase. There's your total to date, 278.96 million roughly. And the companion table 6 breaks that same information down by region and shows your current budget and commitments as well as your expenditures. You can see that that 279 million approximately represents about 44% of the budget of 630.3 million. One other note, we did reduce the revenue in table 2 by that 69.3 that you see here, because technically it was not funded by tax revenue. So again, tables 2 and 3 now reflect, I guess, more correctly the categories of revenue that we received. Table 7 provides you with your cost performance ratio information. And we're happy to report that all the SPLOST 4 and SPLOST 5 construction project budgets are in good standing. That is, they have green indicators. The DCSD salary account has been hanging out there for some time. As
You
we
know what,
discussed.
Mel, can you stop right there? Because there was a question that was brought up in regards to that,
That account,
and why there was a difference from 1 month to a next month to current month. Can you, I'm not sure if you can explain it now, or if you can, if that's something that we can talk about later.
Well, this account hasn't, these account balances haven't changed for quite some time, and back as far as I can remember back. But the question was whether or not we'd be able to get finance support to make those changes so that we could report differently. That's a question I'd have to defer to the district. I don't know if Richard has any feedback on that, but I know that Mr. Williams, our planning director, was hoping to entertain those conversations.
I don't at this time. Well,
Understood. Yeah, it may have, well, we were told that this is a carryover from the conversion from Crosspoint to Munis. So that's been a few years, and it may be that finance has to complete the Munis implementation to be able to fix it. I'm not sure, Kathy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Kevin, you have your hand up. Kevin, you're on mute.
You may be able to unmute him, Kathy.
I think it looks like he tried to unmute himself, but he's still muted. So I'm not sure if something's going on with his speakers.
Or Kevin, maybe if you can put your question in a chat.
Okay, we still can't hear you. So if you continue to talk, we can't hear a thing.
Shall I proceed, Kathy?
You know what? Can we hold on for just a second to see if he put something in the chat?
Yeah, I'm having trouble getting to the chat when I'm presenting. My apologies.
Yeah, I have it up, so it's no problem.
Okay, good.
Okay, he said go ahead and proceed, so we can come back to it.
So table 8 is the cost performance report for SPLOST 4. You know that the gray areas shaded out and completed or closed out, or if they were deferred or canceled. Hightower is the only active project left in SPLOST 4, as I mentioned. It's effectively complete. We're trying to close it out financially and then contract close out as well. And then table 9 provides that detailed data, current budget, commitments, expenditures, a comparison, and then the cost performance ratio for SPLOST 5, and that's organized by project number. As you can see, everything flags green except for the problem DCSD salary account, which we will skip over if you don't mind, Kathy. Tables 10A through 10H provide the detailed cost information, but it's sorted by region, and then it's sorted by project name.
Okay, can we hold on 1 second? Kevin, can you unmute yourself?
Sure. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I apologize. I got a new computer and I'm going as I go. So the question I wanted to kind of go back to and explore on that teacher budget number is that number.
Well, you know what? So let's be clear that it's not a teacher budget. It's the salary.
The salary budget. Excuse me.
We don't want to say teacher.
Yeah. So let me.
Somebody hears that.
That's a good call. That's a very good call out. So specifically, it's the salary budget. Is that number, although we believe it to be erroneous, is that extracted from the top line number, or is that included? I mean, obviously, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's only a couple $1 million. Yeah, is that number extracted out? I mean, we believe that it's wrong, but is that number carried in the top line number?
If I understand thank you for the question, Mr. Alexander. If I understand it correctly, I would tell you that this is what you see for these accounts is what's also reported in Munis. So it's a question of Munis being corrected before we can roll down any corrections to this report.
Oh, so yeah, let me say it differently. Is that number aggregated in the top line number of this report?
Yes, it's the bottom line number. It's
So
on the
bottom
next
line.
page. Yes, sir. So here's the line item, and right below it is the total of the district managed projects.
Yep.
And below that is the total for the construction projects and the district managed project. Yes, sir. So we're carrying that negative 3.6 million right now. You can
Right.
see it over there. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I wish we can get that resolved because
Yes, sir. We
interesting-
agree.
Well, I want to
with you.
share the interesting piece is, and I want to share it, I'm gonna get off of it, is that obviously this number hasn't changed in eons. So the question is, one, why are we still reporting it as a number? And two, since we know it's wrong and it's affecting all the other numbers, I think we're not doing ourselves a good service. I don't know what I couldn't drive that ship to say what the issue is, but this time and length, I think that we're not showing a sense of urgency, and that also goes to that conversation that the superintendent asked about trust. This is a trust issue. I'm gonna let that go. Thank you.
No, thank you for that, Kevin. That was spot on. But we need to keep an eye on that because that needs to be corrected.
Ms. Blakeney,
Yes,
this is Dr. Tinsley. How are you?
I'm doing well, Dr. Tinsley.
Good. Thank you so much for that comment. What I am doing as we are having the meeting is I am reaching out to finance. If that is something that is impacted by our lack of conversion to Munis, then we would not be able to straighten that out until we, get that fully executed. But if it is something that can be addressed, in the time being, we'll make sure that we get that looked at for everybody, okay?
That sounds good. Thank you very much, Dr. Tinsley.
Thank you. So tables 10A through 10H provide that detailed cost information by region. It's sorted by project name. And again, anything shaded is completed or closed out. Any projects with a budget anomaly would flag red, everything else flags green. And remember, region 0 reflects non-construction projects as well as projects that are bundled and have activity at multiple facilities. So each interested committee member can just go to their region or their area and pick out any project they want to get information on. And the color coding you see here matches the district map at the top of the report. And on the table 11, projects with scheduled performance measure, or the SPR, the scheduled performance ratio indicating red, gotten a little longer. Actually, only 7 of the projects are new entries. I'll speak to them briefly or quickly, and then people can ask questions as required. 11535 security vestibules A was added to the list. It's pretty much like security vestibule B that was on the list previously. The availability of the ballistic resistant glazing has pushed those deliveries back into late fall 2022. 35235 Tony Elementary HVAC replacement was added to the report.
You know what, Mel? I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else heard, but it was a little choppy with the security vestibule information. So just to make sure that everybody is hearing the same thing, I heard that the glazing or the
Ballistic resistant glazing, correct.
yeah, that material is not available. It won't be available until, I'm assuming, is that late fall of 2022?
It's late fall, Kathy. In fact, we're having trouble getting what we would call confirmed delivery dates from the vendors. So it's a battle at this point. We hope to know more in the next week. We'll have a report as soon as we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, of course. The next new entry on the report is Tony Elementary, the HVAC replacement there. You may recall that the project was put on hold per the CMP recommendations, but been recently reactivated by the district. So we're pushing it forward. We'll need to rebaseline that project schedule. That'll get it aligned where it should be. The next new entry is 35335 Kittredge Magnet at the Nancy Creek facility. That's an HVAC replacement fire sprinkler installation. We did take bids. Only one GC provided a bid. It was way over budget. And so we're going to rebid that pending confirmation of the E-SPLOST 6 project list. The next new entry on the list is 35535 Stoneview Elementary, HVAC components with selected roof replacement and some site improvements. And that project had been on hold. Technically, it still is on hold pending the approved E-SPLOST 6 project list. I believe there's a desire to do it. We just haven't been clearly told to launch that job yet. The next new entry is 35935 Livesey Elementary HVAC replacement. You may recall that that project was also put on hold per the CMP and has been recently reactivated by the district. So we'll need to rebaseline that project as soon as we know exactly what we think it'll look like. Next new entry is 3635 DeKalb High School Technology South, HVAC component replacement with plumbing, lighting, and site improvements. That also was put on hold per the CMP. It's been recently reactivated by the district. So we'll need to rebaseline that schedule as well. And the final new entry is Dresden Elementary, replacement elementary school. It's a design phase only in this project 36235. And that original scope was canceled. And then the design of the new elementary was approved instead. So we'll need to rebaseline that one as well. All the other entries are carryovers from the prior period. I think the one I would probably want to highlight is Cedar Grove High School Auditorium Edition, because it's lagging. Prior, the general contractor told us the tentative completion date or substantial completion date would be October 10th. They didn't make that. They're awaiting their final elevator inspection. Then they can get their final fire marshal inspection, and then we'll be able to declare substantial completion. Right now, we're hoping if we can get all that done before Thanksgiving, we will have achieved a victory. So we're working hard to push the contractor. In fact, our deputy Brian sent them a correspondence late last week, I believe, or early this week, indicating they're not in compliance with particular articles in their contract. There are necessary penalties that they might incur if they don't cure. So we'll see what reaction we get from them this week. Hopefully we'll have a positive report for our next committee meeting.
Mel, if I can jump in real quick, we were on site today with Bowen and Watson.
Yeah, please do.
And we do have a phone line to the elevator, so hopefully next week we can get that elevator squared away. And they've made a decent amount of progress relatively in the past 2 to 4 weeks out there. So they're got their they're being attentive, and they have their PM is there every day now. So.
Good news. Thank you. I think the only other thing, if my memory serves correct, was the control panel for the audio video equipment.
Yes, that's they're still thinking that's about a month out, but that won't stop using the space. They'll stop having productions auditorium. Yeah, the lighting system is actually the lighting is complete and working. It's just the actual
very good
big board. Yeah.
Okay, so we can get substantial completion and hopefully pull a certificate of occupancy. That would be a win. Thank you, Brian.
Welcome.
Generally speaking, the other projects were all those that we've either taken to the board or will take to the board in the next month or two with requests for additional scope approved that push the projects back. But we do believe that as much as we could with the budgets available, we've tried to take care of whatever we needed at those projects. For example, Salem Rock Chapel, Laurel Ridge, Woodridge, Chestnut, et cetera. Finally, the track and turf at Lakeside is essentially complete. The track, you may recall, had poor asphalt underlayment. It's being replaced now, and it looks like they'll be completely done before Christmas. So that'll be the last of the turf and track projects. Table 12 provides the schedule details for SPLOST 4. Again, what's active is High Tower. Culinary Arts Lab, I think technically is on hold based on the CMP. And then table 13 provides a detail for SPLOST 5. Everything that you see red here shows up on table 11 that we just talked about. And as I mentioned, at least 12 of those will be re-baselined as soon as we maybe get closer to lining up a builder. So that red will go away in the next few months for most of those. Oh, and then tables 14A through 14H provide that same data by region. Remember, Region 0 carries those projects that are bundled. You can see the security vestibule, for example, the sprinklers. And in scanning through, it looks like each region has one or more projects that flash red, so nobody's being picked on. I guess Kathy would be my reaction to that. We spread the wealth, unfortunately. And then table 15 provides your completed and closed out project list. Looks like I've got some homework to do here. It's a flag for me, not to worry about. We'll put that next month. So that's a pretty good list of completed and closed out. Appendix A provides your SPLOST 4 detail information. We call it the carryover information. And it's pretty detailed, provides the school name, project manager, budget, and then the budget by Munis WBS category with totals, start and finish dates, and then some detail about the scope. So each of the carryover projects that makes up that 270 million from tables 4 and 5, I'm sorry, is on this Appendix A, and I know it to be 20 pages long, Kathy. I don't want to spin it too fast and get everybody dizzy, but it's a lot of information. And then Appendix B carries that same level of detail for your SPLOST 5 projects, starting here. In fact, you can actually see where a bundle project has multiple lines for general contractor because it's multiple facilities and units. We're tracking each of those facilities individually. That would roll up to table 0, or I'm sorry, region 0. And then we detail that, I think we mentioned before, in Appendix E, where we break that out per region so you can see those discrete totals for each facility. So I know that the team has tried to make sure that the program information is as accurate as we can get it, considering it's a lot of detail. But I think we've got almost 20 pages of SPLOST 5 information by now. Correct? 359, 60, 70. Down through your non-construction projects. And we should total at 630.3 and expenditures of 278.90.57. So that looks good. That looks good. Appendix C provides you with your funding detail. For each category, there's your sales tax, your bond, and your JD reimbursements. And starting with your first month, which was July 2017, through where we are now, basically SPLOST 5 ending in June 22, you can see the receipts of 616,843 are constant for the last 3 months, and the total is the same. As I mentioned, we'll be reporting new tax receipts in SPLOST 6 reporting going forward. And there's a 741 received so far in GADOE reimbursements. Appendix D gives you a little summary, if you will, of your funding, your commitments, your expenditures. That's per month. Starting again from July 2017 through to today, of course, but after July 22, no additional revenues. There's 657 that you mentioned. And expenditures to date, cumulative, there's 278,957. So that looks correct. And then Appendix E, as I mentioned, is a explosion, I guess is a good word, of the Region 0 information, which rolls up projects that have activity at multiple facilities. And you probably see that pretty easily in, let's say, Region 1. Here's a good one. So 113,423 fence installation. You can see at each individual school, we've exploded the detail for that particular project and then the budget expenditures to date. So each of the regions in this Appendix E has that, if you will, explosion of the cost of the facilities in Region 0. So that's a table that we added in March 2022. It turns out to be pretty useful. And that's a quick recap of the report. As we like to say, that concludes my formal remarks. I'm happy to take questions.
All right. Lisa Wright has her hand up.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a question about SPLOST 5, project number 30435, the baseball improvements for Druid Hills. Can you please elaborate on the munis processing issue that you had with that?
Let me see if I can pull that up real fast and get a look at it. I think it was a couple months ago, the board had approved a change order to the project, but that change order was not, or the budget transfer was not reflected in munis. I'm not real clear, Ms. Wright, exactly what was going on technically. It was apparently a munis processing glitch, but I think Brian might have more information on that one.
Yeah, I think the only issue with 30435 and financially was that when the budget was created, the 2 million, it was spread across all the normal cost codes: architect, AE, construction services, pre-construction, general contractor. But it was a design build project, so all the money should have been placed into the general contractor cost code, which is what the contract to Gilbane was written out of. So that has been corrected. So the project budget was always the board approved number, and then but
had to be moved around to the right bucket.
The funds are in the wrong bucket, so to cover the contract cost of the bucket, we just had to move money to the correct funds, correct cost code. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think we're okay now, Ms. Wright.
Yeah,
thanks for the question.
And I have a second question, and this is a general question. It may not apply to the MSR report, but have we as a district or as any individual school tried to take advantage of the bipartisan infrastructure law, where it was given money to replace, school buses, clean air, different things? Are we seeking those funds? Because I know they just announced they just gave $1 billion out, and they have up to $5 billion just for the clean buses, let alone other improvements that they are funding. So I just was curious about our stance on that, and are we going to seek those funds possibly?
I'll defer to Richard on that.
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm not sure if it is the same grant, but we are looking at acquiring some electric buses, the potential to look at those and try those out. And I believe that was a grant fund, but I would have to get more information on exactly and if it's the same thing that you had mentioned. It has been brought up by other district leadership to that's something that we ought to look into, and we've also might pilot some electric vehicles as well. The issue though, of course, is as soon as you do that, then you have to start building the infrastructure, also charging stations and such. So that would be something we would need to look into as well.
Thank you.
Great questions, Lisa. Thank you. Are there any more questions for Mel and the MSR report? All right, moving right along. Mel, you want to, yep, thank you.
Quite welcome.
Let's see, facilities maintenance report, the work order report update, and the Munis work order system.
Sorry, I was muted. Mel, if you will get out of that, I can share my, okay. All right, can you see my screen? Spreadsheet with colorful bars on it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
All right, so
Yes, we can see it.
what I'm going to go over tonight, this is what we discussed with our one of the state DOE staff members on a weekly basis. These are, so this is not work orders, but these are the items that were identified by our facility staff this summer at all the schools. If you recall, there was a video that was put out by Druid Hills High School. There was a list of 106 items that were identified that needed to be remedied at the school. We didn't stop with Druid Hills High School. We also looked at every school, identified issues at schools, and are working down that list now. We had 3 priority items, priority 1, 2, and 3. Those items are priority 1 was things that could be done within 30 days. Priority 2 was, I think it was 30 to 90. It was either 90 or 120 days. And then priority 3 was after that. So when you got to priority 3, those were some things that would either had a long lead time or had a, would be part of our larger project. So as you can see here, we've completed 83% of those. You can look at the priority 1s that we have a pretty high level of completion on those. Of the 3,537, 3,292 of those have been completed. And then you can see the priority 2s and 3s. We're still working on those as well. So we've completed 83% of those. And just so you can see what some of the different priority 1, 2, and 3 items are, I was going to pull up this is the chart for Druid Hills. And again, this was when Bobby, after the video came out, Bobby took the facility staff and went through this school in particular, Druid Hills High School, and identified everything that they could see that was deficient, that needed to be fixed. And you can see priority ones here, things like wall needs painting outside by door leading to the weight room, electrical outlet needs securing outside door leading to weight room, paint window in room 151. So, or I'm sorry, in room 150. Those are items that were considered things that could be done pretty quickly, that could be addressed quickly. A priority 2 item here, replace door to mechanical room and hallway on same floor as weight room. So that was something that took a little bit longer. That item has been completed. Basically, everything in green has been completed. A few items that still needs to be completed. Carpet is ordered. We're waiting on delivery so we can schedule the replacement. And this is from last week's report. So we have carpet in a few places. The gym floor, there is a annual maintenance that we do on the gym floor, so that will be part of that. And I believe that's coming up in the next several weeks. Weight room floor, we just had a vendor approved to provide these services, so we're getting a quote on that. Let's see, room signs needed throughout. So this is one that is a priority 3. It's something that's going to take a little bit longer. So since Druid Hills High School is going to be, or will have a modernization project, which will include renovating large portions of the project, possibly moving walls, moving rooms, etc. That is something that will be part of that project. And then there was also, there was one in here, let me find it, that was windows, replacing windows. Oh, this was it, reglaze old windows in cafeteria building, be addressed as part of the larger project. So that's something that will be addressed at that time. So this is what we did for every high school, I'm sorry, every school in the district, high schools, middle schools, and all the elementary schools. The other thing that I wanted to, if I can get to it here, the other thing I wanted to show, and Barry's going to talk about this more as well. So those items that I just showed on the spreadsheet were, those were items that were not, some of those were work orders. There weren't a whole lot that had already been entered as work orders. Those were things that were done in addition, that were identified at each school. But what this is our data dashboard for work orders. And this is something that Ms. Barry Thompson has been working on. And I think I had shown this before and had a little confusion on my part as to what the number up here was. And that's the total number of work orders. That's not total open. We actually need to change that, because you can see here there are 973 work orders that are in progress, 1,657 that have been approved, so they will start soon. 2,021 that have been completed, and then the new. So I had to do. Because there's so few new there. It says 0, basically 0,000. So when you add all these other numbers up, out of all of those numbers total 4,651. So there were 8 new work orders. But what you can do here, you can go in and you can see detailed information. I am going to try to make this larger without messing it all up. Let's see. There. So this is just for Region 1. It shows the schools in Region 1 approved, in progress, and complete. So you can see the numbers here. You can also see the work order count. Those that are less than 30 days, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 100, 120 and over 120. And this is, again, this is out on our website, and you can, I'm playing with some of this also to see exactly. So you can select your school and see, see exactly what the numbers are for that school. And then you can go back and look at any of the regions. Oh, just a minute. There, all the Region 2 schools. So you can see basically the detailed information for each of the regions. There's also a description down here of what new, approved, in progress, and service region down here. And like I said, Barry will, when she talks about the MUNIS system, which is the next item, she will be able to talk about this a little more. And that's what I have for the work orders now. We can, or for the update. If there are not any questions, we can let Barry go ahead and start on.
Yeah, you got two hands up. Kevin's hand was first, and then Lisa.
Somehow my, okay, go ahead.
Sure. Oh boy, oh, look at my thing doing this. So quick question here, and I'm adjusting my camera as we speak. Quick question, does this, and I'm a religious reader of this dashboard. I think this was a really awesome thing that the system did to make this transparency. My question is, how does this include the information that we had on the spreadsheet over that the action that we did, that emergency action that we did to look at the different schools?
No, this is not necessarily. Let me see if so you can see here there's a column that says work order, and you can see that for these items there were not, let me do this just a minute. So there were 3 work orders. For those 106 items, there were 3 that had been submitted as work orders. And for the other 103, those were items that our team found that would be in addition to that work order count.
So is there going to be an effort to, I guess the term would be
Capture?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, sir.
I don't think so, because, and that's something we could look at just from the sheer extent.
Yeah, that's exactly where
manpower.
I was going. That's exactly,
Yeah.
because you guys did a yeoman's job. And I think that from a public perspective, that they can really get an understanding of, and it's just our perception. I mean, you guys did a lot of work and created a lot of effort, and it should be shown. I think so.
Yeah. Well, as you can see there are 4,976 items. So that would be someone or a group of people inputting 4,976. And again, it wouldn't be all of that, but for those items that don't have work orders, you're looking at several, or a couple of thousand work orders that staff would have to sit and enter to get that into the system.
Sure, I understand. From an articulation point, especially after the, I would say, negative publicity we received, I think that it would be a worthwhile effort as showing how we move the big rocks. It's just something to think about.
Agreed, and we might, instead of actually adding these as work orders, there could very well be something that we post that shows, how many items had been found and how many were completed, because these were things that were found not by the state or not by any outside group, but found by our own people,
That's right.
identified as things that needed to be addressed. And so far, 83% of them have been addressed.
There you go. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And that's really all I had, Kathy. If we, oh, I'm sorry. Lisa, you had your hand up, and then I just
Yes,
noticed Derek's
it's
is up as well.
a very simple question. Just trying to get a staffing update on where we are with our needs for our, staff that relates to the repair and maintenance area. And
So
also, just want to salute you guys, like I said, for the excellent table that's presented online. And I think that will help people realize that the information is there, they can study it and know specifically how it impacts them. So I just want to salute the staff for that.
Well, thank you for that. And as far as staffing, I don't have all the numbers. I will say, because Bobby has said it a couple of times, it was either the first of this week or end of last week, we hired 5 people. There was one day that they had interviews for one of the maintenance positions, and they had 5 accept. So we are interviewing. There is a job fair coming up on the 5th, November 5th, Saturday. That is for all of operations. We hope to have, we hope to be able to attract a number of positions there. But we are actively pursuing all different types of positions, not only in the facilities department, but also planning. I have in design and construction, I have positions out that we're looking for. Bus drivers, we can never get enough bus drivers. So all of the departments in operations really are, in operations, in the division of operations, has advertisements out for positions, and we're actively pursuing and trying to bring new staff in. It's a very challenging market out there now, because as I keep reminding people, our competitors are not just the other school districts. Our competitors are any restaurant that is out there is a competitor for our school nutrition group. Any transportation department, whether it's MARTA, Greta, Cobb, Greyhound, anybody that is paying more than what we're currently paying is a serious competitor. I will note, though, in our Dr. Tinsley we heard this earlier in the week. We had a couple of bus drivers that went to another county because that county was offering a higher hourly rate than we were, but they came back because once they got there, they realized that they were also having more items deducted from that hourly rate, such as Social Security and other items, and realized that they were better off here. So hopefully we'll have more bus drivers that come back. But it's a very competitive market, but we are actively pursuing adding new staff in all the operations departments. Derek?
Hey, Richard, I think I asked this question about 6 months ago, and I think it was still a work in progress. And tying this back to some of our E-SPLOST projects, we're spending all this money on new HVAC systems, new facilities. Weren't you all still working on a preventative maintenance plan, especially for the HVAC? Is that still a work in progress?
Yeah, and we've actually hired a HVAC manager. One of our, it was an internal, we actually had 2 internal moves. So one of our regional facility managers, Michael Burdett, was hired as the HVAC manager. And we're working to hire techs so that we do have a HVAC shop. Then he was a regional facilities manager, so his position has been backfilled also. But yes, we're continuing to work on that, and that will be their main object will be addressing the maintenance on our HVAC systems.
Sorry, I couldn't get off mute. Thank you for the update.
Sure. Any other questions? And if not, I'll turn it over to Barry, and Barry can, let me stop sharing. I know Barry wants to share her screen. What she's going to look at or discuss with us is, I know Bobby has talked about the SPLOST, got SPLOST on my brain, the Munis work order system, how we're working with it, et cetera. Barry has been instrumental in taking the Munis system and configuring it to the way that we work based on our trade departments and our different regions. And she's also been doing the training. And Barry, I don't know if you saw my text. I couldn't get in the app just a little while ago, but we have a app that is developed and has been put on our district cell phones for the maintenance staff. They can, they can get notifications. But she's going to go through all that and just talk about how that's working, and we can ask questions from there. So I'll stop sharing, Barry, and you can go ahead and share your screen. Okay.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yep.
All right, if I get feedback, I'll turn my cell phone off. I'm trying to be able to show you all the field sheet app that the technicians see as well. But if it causes a problem, I'll turn that one off. Is the sound okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the sheet that you all are you all seeing the, let's see. Are you all seeing my screen now?
Yes. Filtered
Okay,
work
good.
orders.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So the first thing is we've built a dashboard of sorts for the technicians and anyone whose primary interaction with the Munis system revolves around work orders. That's the school nutrition, repair, the maintenance of the schools, the plant engineers, the custodians. Sometimes the secretaries file them. Infrequently, the principals or assistant principals do. But the average school has 3 people who can create a service request, 4 if you include someone from the cafeteria. So we've been working really hard to make sure that all of the people who are boots on the ground and would know when they have an issue have the ability to go and put in the request to have repairs made. So for those who use the system, we're going to divide this conversation into 2 groups. The first one is the people who have problems, and the second group is the people who fix problems. So the first group, the people who have the problems, are the ones we just mentioned, the plant engineers, the custodians, the lady that runs the cafeteria. So we've created the dashboard that you're looking at here, and this is what's called a landing page on what's called the Tyler Hub. So when you first log in, like for me, I just go to the main website and I've set Munis up and I just go to the prod login. And as soon as it comes up, this is my screen. And the documentation that all of the school people received and that I've done tutoring and walking through has set it up so that everyone has this as their main screen. What this screen does is it's kind of a one size fits all so that everyone can be familiar with the same screen, but tune it to their needs. So in the top right corner over here is this servicing department and activity filter. You can come in here, and if you are a school, all you really care about is your school. So you can drop down this requesting department, find your school, and that's the only thing that you will see. If you're a servicing department, like one of the regional managers, you care about everything in your region. So you can drop it down and you can pick any collection of schools from your region, or you can pick your region itself. And you can, and so it will filter to the things that are yours. You can go to the statuses, and those same statuses that we see on the web page about whether it's in process, it's new, it's finished. Those statuses exist over here so that you can filter to only those things that are in process at your location, or as a regional manager that your guys are working on. And then the next thing is what Richard was discussing, where we tried to align this program with the way that we do work. And so we do work more by the shop. Miss Arnie, Barbara Arnie, had sent a very good email asking questions about how this process works, how it rolls. And the this page is designed to make it so that everybody can see their own pieces, and that these people, where we've tried to decentralize, and when we realize that we need a carpenter in every region, we actually need several. We need a plumber in every region. We need HVAC guys that work across the entire district, because there's so much of it to be done and not all units are the same. So you may need to take one guy who's very knowledgeable about a specific type of unit and use them in region 2 or region 4. But generally they are in their own region, but they're pooled together to get a more comprehensive service. Then there are some groups that are not conducive to being put into an individual region, like the locksmiths. We have 2 locksmiths and they service the entire district. We have some pest control guys. We have some hazmat guys. And so putting one of those in each region probably wouldn't be, this is just me speaking, but probably wouldn't be our best use of payroll, because that would have us putting 7 people on staff when experience shows us that 3 or 4 can do it across the board. They also take care of the fire alarms and other specialty equipment that either require certifications, specific training, things like that. So we can go in and those guys can filter for their specific activity codes, just like Mr. Burdett can filter for just HVAC and see everything without regard to which region or location filed it. And then the last thing is, if you're that technician, we installed 10 units, 10 of these computers near the regional manager's offices, so that if necessary, we could rapidly do training and sit them down at those machines. They could do additional research at those machines. They could work collaboratively. We didn't know what we might need them for, but we had an opportunity to get a few, so we did. And so they can sit down and they can look at things that are assigned just to themselves. So right this minute, I am looking at things assigned to a fellow named Thaddeus Thomas, and I've selected any kind of a thing that there is. So I can see that 3 of them are complete, 4 are complete, 3 are in process. He's one of the HVAC fellows. He's out of region 7. So this is our main dashboard, and I encourage everyone who calls me with an issue to frame it to me in terms of this dashboard, because then I can filter and see what they're seeing, and so can anyone else. So this dashboard can be filtered for your stuff. It can be filtered for work orders that you know somebody else worked on before you. So you can go back and look at the history of a location for HVAC, for carpentry, for anything that's in the system, and be able to see, you know, if you just know, I know somebody changed something about this RTU on the roof just last year. You can go in here and you can search for it if it's in the time frame since the system came live. So that's the first thing, is that this is our main dashboard and everyone uses it. All the custodians, the plant engineers, the technicians, the regional managers, everybody drives off of this. They use other screens too, but this is how we can manage our work. Now, these are set up as hyperlinks. So I can click on a specific one of these work order numbers and it will take me to everything there is to know about it. Right here, I can hover over the critical things and it'll tell me, okay, he says there's no air in a collection of rooms at Cedar Grove. But I can actually click on this number here and it will take me to the work order itself so that I can see much more information about it. Now I'm able to dig down and figure out who filed this work order, what's been done on it. I can have notes on it. I can see a lot of different things. So as this system evolves from crawl to walk to run, we have the ability to use servicing priorities, to put in things that cause it to get on a maintenance list. We can flag it as having been an emergency or an accident. We have a lot of flexibility that when we get there, we can take advantage of. We can also note what we did to address it. There's a text box, and when the technicians finish the work in the handheld devices, this is now we're talking on a thing called Field Sheet, which shows them portions of this information on their handheld. They can go in and close the work order, and then they can make notes about it. Like, I closed the work order, but I can tell you that this copper needs to be sweated together better. It's not going to last forever. Or I've cobbled it back together, but we need to order this part or that part to do a better, to do a better repair on it. And then we have these notes to go back to. So
Hey, Barry.
this is our
Barry.
main, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. We've got 2 minutes now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it okay for our committee members? Can we extend our meeting by at least, maybe 10 minutes? Is that okay? If there are
Yes.
no objections. All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry. You keep me honest on this, Miss Blakely. Okay, so the field work, it takes us to what is field work when you view it inside the system, but is field sheet when you pull it up on a handheld. I'm now going to bring another document onto the screen, which is the training document I wrote for the guys for the work order system, so that you can see what they see on the handheld. So they went and they logged in, and it gave them the ability to get in there. This is where Richard's stuck now, but this was pushed on there. We had a great support from the IT folks. There's a lady over there who pushed on to over 110 machines, district cell phones, this application. So all they had to do was log into it. When they get in there, this is what they see in Field Sheet. They see this icon right here is a filter. If they click it, they get to filter down to only their own things. They get to see what it was that needs to be done. They get to go and edit the work order to update the status or to reassign it to a different person if it's not them. They can put it on hold because they're waiting on parts or flag it as completed. And then Miss Arnie's document had also asked, okay, so do you just up and close it? No, there are several points in the system where emails are generated by the system. And one of them is when the fellow says that he's closed it. It goes into an approval queue for the regional manager so that he can determine whether he thinks the work was done or not. But a notice is also sent to the requester of record on the service request, so that they can say, I'm going to go down there and see if it was really repaired, if the doorknob was fixed, if the paint was done. So there are these checks and balances that have been put in place. And as I said, it's a crawl, walk, run. This is a fairly heavy lift, but we do have it now so that the technicians can see them, the field can put them in, and we can manage them in the middle. So now that you've seen you've seen the 0-inch level of part of this, I want to go back and talk about the system in a more comprehensive way. So the work orders themselves, all right. The first thing that happens is, what does a requester do when he's got a doorknob that doesn't work? He comes in the system and he goes over to the asset maintenance and he goes to request, and he doesn't see anything like the amount of stuff I see, but he goes in and he goes to requests and he goes to create requests. And he has a very, very simple screen here. All he has to do is say, it defaults in for him his requesting location, and then it defaults in the servicing department, which region handles him. He then comes over and let's see, Ashford Parks in region 1. Sorry, it won't work if I don't put in things that are valid. I made it that way. All right, so Then he can drop down and see the activities that we discussed. So if it were desirable to anyone, we could even take the web sheet that we were looking at earlier, where we can see the drill downs of what makes up a given region. And we could even take this work order count and we could go all the way out to where we could say, all right, there's this much that's carpentry and this much that's plumbing and whatnot. I don't recommend that you do it, but I'm telling you that it is possible. In fact, I cull that information to create what you see on this page. So they come in, they go to create requests, and this is called a service request. I saw something where the concept of work order and service request were combined into work request. It isn't, it's two separate things. The person at the school who needs the door fixed comes in here and says, all right, I, Ashford Park, need Region 1 to go in and send me a carpentry guy so that he can come out and fix my doorknob. And then all they do is they hit save down here. It then becomes a saved service request. Now, when you look at the service requests, these go into a queue for approval, because I can tell you that we've had people that come in and they put in the service request to get you to pick up the limbs that are in the catch basin on the side of the school. And the school guy can probably do that. So there is an approval queue for the people to go in and look at these service requests, and it's the regional managers. It goes to the regional manager. And then again, we have some regional concepts that are region specific, carpentry, plumbing. But then we have some that are worked by a single guy. We have one manager who handles all the hazmat, all of the pest control. We have another guy that handles all the landscaping and grounds for everybody. So they go in and they filter for only their own stuff, and then they approve those requests or they reject them, and they put a note and tell them, you know, I need more information, or try to do it yourself if you can. I don't really know what all they do, but I know I set it up so they can. Then the next thing is, after they've approved it or rejected it, it goes into a queue where the work orders are created. And I saw a comment there where where Miss Arnie had asked the question, all right, so then what happens? So after the service requests are created, then they go into a work order. They go into where the work orders are created. And that's called convert service requests. So at this point, they see all of these service requests that are sitting out there, and the ladies that do this job are incredibly diligent. I can't even I have to tell them if I'm creating a test item, because they will convert it before I can use it in a class. So they go in there on the regular and they convert these work orders or these service requests into work orders. Once it's been turned into a work order, the people out in the field who created the service requests can see their requests. They can see things created by their department, and in addition to the ones that they created. So they can also see the work orders. So completed service requests give them the ability to look at the work order that it became. They also have the hub page where they can see the work orders that were created. Click on it, the hyperlink, and they can see what's going on with it, because they see the desktop version of that field sheet that we were talking about, the one where the technician sees this information over here. But they can see a version of this so that they are updated and they can go in and see, I'm on hold. Well, they would be notified they were put on hold, but they can see why they were on hold. We need a squirrel cage for the HVAC or whatever the matter is. So the process is service request is created. After the service request is created, it's approved or rejected. After it's approved or rejected, if it's approved, then it is turned into a work order. Once it's been turned into a work order, a technician is assigned to it. So the regional manager's tasks are, when I get it streamlined enough, is they go in and they approve the service request. Then the ladies turn it into a work order. Then they assign that work order to a technician. Then the technician goes and does the work. he closes the work, and when it's assigned to when it's turned into a work order, the school is notified, so they know the work order number. The technician receives an email on his handheld to his email that says, hey, you've been assigned this particular work order at this particular location, and it tells him all the stuff that they put in there, so that he has an immediate notification about it. Then after he does the work, then he closes the work order, and it goes into a queue for approval by the regional manager so that he can determine whether it should be closed or not. And a notice is also sent to the school so they can decide if they think the work was actually done till they're happy of it. And then the work order is completed. After all of that is done, I go and I run big omnibus reports that show all of the work orders that have been created in the history of our system.
Hey, Barry.
And that's the data that becomes the report
Barry.
that you all see. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You got probably a minute. We need to go ahead and wrap this up.
Yes, ma'am. So
thank you so much.
I just wanted you all to know that then those things become the exact data that you see here, which is what is on the KPIs that you see on the page on the dashboard. Okay, thank you. If there's any questions, I mean, ask.
Thanks, Barry. I think this was much needed. I think we need for you to come back and do this presentation again. This is a lot of information. Anybody have any questions? All right. All right. Thank you so much, Barry. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And good to see you. Hadn't seen you in a while. Let's see. Mel, you gonna share your screen again?
Barry will have to stop sharing.
Okay. I think that we are almost at the end of our agenda.
Control Mel?
Yep, so we're going to hopefully go through the next couple of items really quickly. Unfinished business, the candidate for the open position. We did have 2 interviews Monday and Tuesday, and more information will come at our next meeting in regards to that. Committee training, see if I can find the email.
I have it here, Kathy, if you
Okay.
want me to go over the dates.
Yes, that would be great.
All right, so the next meeting is on the 16th, and then the following week is Thanksgiving. So what I was thinking of for training would be, or could be either November 8th, 9th, and 10th, which is the Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday before our next meeting, or it could be the week after Thanksgiving, which would be November 29th, 30th, or December 1st, that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And it would only be one day. I was just throwing those out as possible. I didn't know if everybody wanted to stay on a Wednesday or if maybe Wednesdays were already full. So we can talk about that. Maybe Kathy and Daniel, y'all can get with the committee and everybody can put their preference in, and we can see what the best date for everyone will be.
Richard, are you talking about working on the maintenance system some more, or a different training?
No, this is a training for the committee.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This would be a training for the committee, as what we've done in past years. And sorry, I didn't turn my camera back on. And it's just a very short presentation that we would do, 30 or 40 minutes. So that's it, Kathy.
Okay. Any questions from anybody?
I would just like to say really quickly, the one day I would rule out respectfully is November 8th. That is election day.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Okay. Kathy, we skipped over 9A also, which is upcoming meetings, and there are none.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just wanted to say that for the, get that out there for the record.
Okay, thank you
All right.
so much, Richard. Let's see, training. Okay, the two items that I had on my list for recommendations was communication policy with the service level agreements. Daniel and I will meet offline and we will discuss that and come up with a plan. And then the new badges for everyone as of February 2023. Were there any other recommendations?
I didn't hear of any others.
Okay.
I didn't either.
All right, awesome. Trying to get y'all out of here in 2 minutes. So any announcements? Any announcements from anybody on the committee?
Go vote.
Oh,
If you haven't already, please go vote.
I did have one announcement, Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who all watched the last board meeting, but there was a approval of a new COO.
Yeah, I think Dr. Tinsley is no longer on the call. So I think that would have been a good announcement from her.
Yeah.
To let the committee know. So we'll look forward to hearing the announcement officially from her, hopefully next month, and working with the new incoming COO. Any other announcements? Daniel and I did talk earlier today, and trying to see whether anybody would want to go back to in-person. And I know I did share with Daniel that I am not ready to go back to an in-person meeting just yet. So we are going to hopefully look at the numbers and see if everybody feels comfortable, maybe after the holidays coming into the new year. So more to come on that. If anybody has any particular feelings about it, please feel free to email me directly. And I'm not going over I am going to go over the attendance. Thank you everybody for attending. I know I get up on my soapbox and I plead and prod and it's not gone on deaf ears, and I think we only had one committee member that was not present, and that's excellent. So I appreciate everyone's diligence in trying to make our meetings. And having said that, it is now 7:45, and I'm going to call our meeting. I'm going to adjourn our meeting. Thank you to everyone who presented. Thank you, Ms. Berry or Ms. Thompson for your presentation. We hope that you do come back maybe in the near future, very soon, and finish that Munis presentation, because I think it would be beneficial. And everyone, if you have not gone to vote, please go vote and encourage and take others to go vote, because we need to show up and show out this midterm election. And if nothing else, have a fantastic, no holidays. Oh, well, I'm not sure if anybody considers Halloween a holiday, but have a great rest of the week. And thank you. Please stay safe. Wear your mask.